So, hello and welcome to this week's episode of the Turn 5 podcast, where we'll be doing This Week in News, and my god, what a week for news it's been. We'll be talking about the one Formula One Academy race that we got in Miami, and then previewing the Formula One AWS Gran Premiero del Made in Italy dell'Emilia Romagna 2025. Or, as we will refer to it for the rest of this episode, Imola.
I'm glad we are agreeing on that still. Excellent news. Speaking of
Let's
news,
get going with the news. Let's start
the
from the
tamest
start.
bit. The tamest bit.
The tamest bit, and yet still probably the worst amount of news there could be. Miami has been extended to 2041.
Oh, fucking hell.
America! The only trade deal announced under Donald Trump's 100 days of tariff nonsense is that he has negotiated a trade deal between Formula One and the Miami Grand Prix to keep us captive there until 2041. I'll be okay with it as long as the conditions are the same as they were on Saturday every year.
Yes, if they just rain every year. Cool.
Mixed conditions, because it did start drying out a bit. So I'll take the mixed conditions every year, and we'll be good. Because Saturday was amazing. Sunday, not so much. But Saturday was great. Unless you're in the F1 Academy. And then it was...
But it's the only track on the calendar to have such a long contract, and it's one of the worst tracks on the calendar.
Yeah.
Why?
So
FOM, why?
It beats me, but I know that for the last few years, or rather since Miami got introduced, the overtaking number of overtakes on track was lower at Miami than the average for the season for every year.
Yeah.
So basically, Miami was bringing the average down. Mm-hmm. Let's go racing.
Yeah, let's go there for the next 16 years.
Yeah. I'm going to be 40 years old and we're still racing at Miami.
Same. I'm going to be 40 before this drops off the calendar at this rate.
I'll be almost 50. I'll be like... Well, actually, it'll be earlier in the year. So I'll be 45.
Yeah.
When this race happens in 2041.
This is insane. Why? F1, why?
I'll be halfway through my life.
Yep.
Anyway.
Oh. A quarter of my life will be wasted with every year fucking Formula One having a Miami Grand Prix. That is such a tragic statement.
You're just having a crisis during the 2040 Grand Prix. Fucking hell. A quarter of my life's been wasted on this shit.
Every year there's going to be less overtakes.
Anyway, at least we only need to watch it once. Let's get to the more interesting news. So,
the first domino.
Shortly after the Miami Grand Prix, it was announced that Ollie Oakes had... It started to become rumoured that Jack Doohan had been fired.
Yeah. This makes sense.
Strongly rumoured.
This makes sense given earlier rumours in the season, with stress that Jack Doohan was initially signed to be guaranteed a minimum of 6 races. Now, initially, he was supposed to start, obviously, at round 1 of this year, but his contract got moved forward to include the last race of last year, which means that his 6-race guarantee ends at round 5 this year, which was Miami. So he has served his contractually obligated 6-race minimum and driver swap.
Yes, so the rumours started swirling like crazy. Not just the normal paddock rumours of, this is maybe happening. Everybody was talking about it.
Yeah, this wasn't Red Bull whispers. This was Flavio basically waving a flag saying he's out.
This was like Lewis Hamilton to Ferrari level rumors of everyone was talking about it. Everybody knew it was going to happen before it did. Shockingly, there was an Alpine team statement released. However, not the one we expected.
Yeah.
The Alpine statement said that Ollie Oakes had resigned as team principal, and God help us all, Flavio Briatore, the master of Crashgate, will be picking up his duties in the interim.
I think that needs to be stressed. A man that was given a lifetime ban from Formula One for race fixing, served, I don't know how many years it was, before eventually getting it overturned in court, and is now back in the paddock in the same position at the same team that he got banned from for race fixing. What universe is this?
I think you have to respect the comeback, to go through that low of fixing the race to then, get back to that point. Fair play to him.
Crazy. So now,
and at least he might make the Miami Grand Prix interesting.
True. So when the news broke that Ollie Oakes resigned, I'd joked with a colleague at work that also watches the Formula One quite closely, that I gave it like 48 hours before Colapinto was announced, because the only understanding there was no we hadn't heard any of the background of why Ollie Oakes had resigned, supposedly. So my thought process was Ollie Oakes was a Jack Doohan defender, which was known at that time. Jack Doohan served his 6-race minimum. Still, fallout within the team and discourse between the two sides were not amicable. So Ollie Oakes resigned, and therefore Jack Doohan would follow. That was my thought process. But then we got the next piece of news.
Yeah. So that bit was many people's thought process, is that Ollie Oakes had resigned in protest.
Yes.
And the driver swap. Then the driver swap was announced.
Yes.
So the expected bit of news came. Colapinto is in, but only for 5 races.
Yeah, I think they said they're on a rolling contract.
Yeah. What are Alpine doing? Just pick a driver.
They're just tanking their season.
Literally. So yeah,
who's in
Colapinto
the Alpine Academy? Have they got any
actually.
academy driver in F2?
They do. I can't remember who is currently, though. I know I've looked. Because there was a big... I wanted to cover this at some point over the summer of what the hell was going on. Because between last year and this year, basically nobody stayed on.
Yeah, there was a big clear out.
Yeah, and then they signed new people. Gabriele Mini, Kushmini are both in Formula 2. Those are probably the best bets. I suppose it says they've been there since 2023. So, but there's also Nicola Lacourte in F3, Kabir Anurag in Italian F4, and the Formula Winter Series and the E4 Championship, whatever that is. Then there's a couple of drivers in other things. Nina Gademan is in the F1 Academy. Yeah.
So yeah,
a lot of choices.
Basically, Gabriele Mini is your prime target here.
Yeah. Franco Colapinto has been announced for round 7 to round 11. So he'll be getting Imola, Monaco, Spain, Canada, and Austria. Are his 5 guaranteed races. And the next time the seat is up for grabs is Silverstone.
So, I just want to highlight Flavio Briatore's post that came a day after Ollie Oaks' resignation. It says, a lot has been said in the past 24 hours incorrectly associating the decision of Ollie resigning to an alleged disagreement or that we shared different views. This is completely false and far from the truth. Me and Ollie have a very good relationship and had long-term ambitions to drive this team forward together. We respect Ollie's request to resign and have therefore accepted his resignation. The reasons are not related to the team and are of a personal nature. This was sort of like the first hints of it, but everyone was still ready to just call bullshit at this point.
Because it's Flavio Briatore saying
Yeah.
Whoa.
It continues. I will continue to be more and more involved with the team, God help us, together with the strong management we already have in place. We will work hard on improving our position this season and preparing for 2026. Included is a message from Ollie to the whole team. Odd. Why would that be on his page, not Ollie's? Anyway, the message from Oliver Oaks. It's been a privilege to lead everyone at Enstone. What a team. What a place. It is a personal decision for me to step down. Flavio has been like a father to me, nothing but supportive since I took the role, as well as giving me the opportunity. Everyone is in place for 2026 and where this dream deserves to be. I believe in Enstone. Top comment, Oliver. Blink twice if you need help. What a time. But that was the first hint, but obviously because it's Flavio, and Flavio has a
way of doing things.
A background with not exactly being straightforward.
Mm.
Everyone was ready to just sort of dismiss his post and his claims. But then
more news broke. Apparently, Ollie Oaks' brother is a good friend of the Mazepins. Remember them?
Well, technically, Ollie still is, because Dimitri came to visit Ollie in pre-season testing. That was well covered, because that was sort of like, oh, why is he in the paddock? But obviously, there's still High Tech, which the Mazepins put a lot of money into. And I think that's sort of where the issue stems from.
Yeah. They're obviously Russian, and there's a lot of economic sanctions surrounding Russia at the moment. And so Oliver's brother has been arrested with a load of cash.
I think I've said it was to be $1 million.
A criminal enterprise or something? Is the charge?
I mean, I've seen various different charges floated around.
Is apparently in hiding in Dubai.
Yep. Crazy business.
What a week in Formula One.
Yeah, this has got like some sort of documentary written all over it, hasn't it?
Drive to Survive is going to be able to make an entire series just from this week.
There's going to be an episode on Flavio coming back.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, okay. Sky Sports is reporting that the charge is transferring criminal property. William Oaks has been charged with that after being found in possession of a large amount of cash. He was arrested at Silverstone Park last Thursday and has been remanded in custody. I want to see if they say how much cash. No. It was rumoured to be $1 million. It's a lot of cash.
It's a lot of cash.
I don't know about you guys, but I've never had quite that much cash on my person.
No.
It depends if you're on about a game or not.
No, I mean physically on your person. I think the most I've ever had on my person is about £350 in cash.
Yeah. And that's usually because you're going to the bank
to put it in the bank.
Yeah.
It was exactly that. This was the post-birthday and Christmas money double whammy.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, what week in Formula One? Ben, you said before we started you had some news. Where does that slot
I
in
go.
with this?
I'll start with the fact that F1, well, currently, as this should be uploaded, a anniversary stream for 24 hours showing 7 races that are
Yes,
Australia
I did see that
2010,
actually.
Canada 2011, Monaco 2013, Germany 2019, Brazil 2008, Sakir 2020, and Vegas 2024. So you can watch Australia, then Canada, and turn it off. Then
Is that Glock?
EA WRC. This will tie in. That has been cancelled and people have been made redundant.
What has?
And then the
rally
EA
game.
WRC
Ah,
game.
okay.
So
That's a shame.
Codemasters only has F1 left technically since the EA takeover.
I quite
And
enjoyed
then-
the WRC game.
Yeah, well, it's up for grabs now. So then the F1 game has released a load of news. The driver ratings, including Kimi
yes.
Antonelli, is
haven't looked at
apparently the
these.
19th best driver on the grid.
Yeah, that because his experience rating's so low and it just drags everything else down, isn't it?
Yeah.
I was gonna say,
Anyway.
I know how this shtick works. The rookies get shafted by experience,
Yeah.
while
Yeah.
Fernando Alonso gets his ass hauled up by the severe amount of experience.
Well, Chris is finding all the ratings. You
Yeah,
can now
that's
drive the tracks backwards. Who the fuck asked for that?
Let's go,
One.
Monaco backwards, baby.
I was
And
saying, to be
there's
fair, we all asked for that in about 2020 when we were like, how's the calendar going to work?
True.
yeah, it's not 2020 anymore, Chris.
Yeah, it's fine. We've now just discovered how long it takes EA to action what we want, and it's 5 years.
Yeah.
So if we ask for
that's
something now,
interesting.
it'll happen in 2030.
Another thing that we've got is F3 drivers. And you might think, whoa, yeah, great. However, there's 4, and the only way you can get them is buying the Iconic Edition. Nah.
4?
4.
I think there's been about 4 driver swaps.
Well, there's 4 drivers in the F1 game.
What the fuck is the point of that? Put them all in, or don't put any of them in. Are the 4 that they've? What 4 have they picked?
I will find it.
Because I reckon they've picked Driver Academy drivers. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
I have
I'm now desperately
the
trying to remember who the
ratings
fuck they are. Yeah, Chris, take
in
us.
order.
Oh yeah, worst to last. Worst to first.
There we go.
Yeah.
Okay,
So
cool.
Guess who's the
I'm just going to cover their overalls.
So who's last then?
In last is Isaac Hadjar
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Valid experience.
with 68. Then it's Kimi Antonelli with 72. Jack Doohan with 73. Gabriel Bortoleto with 74.
Okay,
Ollie
fair. He
Behrman.
did win the championship, so boost
Ollie Behrman with 74.
has more experience.
Lance Stroll is last of the non-rookies with 78.
58.
Yeah.
That's more like it.
Then it's Liam Lawson with 80. Yuki Tsunoda with 82.
I'm
Alex
sorry.
Albon,
Can we just go back to the fact that Lance Stroll has been outdone by technically a rookie?
Yep.
Banter.
So Tsunoda with 82. Albon with 83. Hulkenberg with 84. Top 10 now starts with Esteban Ocon with 85.
It's far too
Pierre
high.
Gasly with 86. Oscar Piastri with 87. Fernando Alonso is 7th with 88. Lewis Hamilton is 6th with 89. Carlos Sainz is 5th with 90, and then George Russell also on 90. Leclerc is 3rd with 91. Norris is 2nd with 91. And Max Verstappen is 1st with 95 out of 100.
I mean, he did win last year, so that's kind of expected, isn't it?
Yeah, but 95!
Yeah. I just want to go back to the fact that I did see a TikTok of the Williams boys laughing at revealing their rating, specifically at the fact that Carlos got replaced and is rated higher.
Yeah.
Brutal.
So, yeah.
So, I have the 4 F3 drivers.
Okay, hit me.
So, this would be last year, I guess.
Yeah.
So the first one is Tim Tramnitz.
Tramnitz.
That how you say it?
Tramnitz, yeah.
That's it. Then it's Nikola Solov, which you sort of expect these big names.
Academy driver.
Callum Volson.
Callum Volson. I think he's in an academy somewhere.
And then Mateus Zagetta.
Zagazeta.
I guess Zagazeta.
Zagazeta.
That's
Yeah,
it.
Zagazeta.
Okay, so Callum Voisin is the GB3 champ. He was in the GB3 championship, and he was the 2023 GB3 champion.
I've got bad news for you, Rich.
Huh?
You're not going to be able to do Monaco backwards.
What?
It's only available on 3 circuits.
Oh, what's the fucking point?
Zandvoort,
Why?
But who's picking that?
Spa.
the Red Bull Ring.
Okay, Red Bull Ring, fine. I'll take that. To be fair, imagine coming
Any points for the third?
down to turn 1.
Any points for the third?
Imola.
Ben?
Miami.
Thankfully, no. Silverstone.
Oh, okay. I felt that was too safe of a guess. Given the first 2, I felt Silverstone was too bland.
I really wanted Spa.
I wanted Spa to drop down Radion into Eau Rouge.
Yeah.
That'd be banter.
And back up toward La Source.
I just wanted to do the hairpin at Monaco backwards.
Yeah.
To get blinded
if it was more drivable.
To get blinded as you come out of the tunnel, but then have to slam on the brakes instantly because you're going left up Portier. Oh shit, brake!
So yeah, those are the 3. Those are available in Grand Prix, Time Trial, and Multiplayer, and Driver and My Team, but they're only available in those from your 2nd season onwards.
Bold of you to assume I'll get that far in the game.
What, to do the race
exactly.
backwards?
I have installed F1 24. I haven't played it yet.
That's not a bad thing.
Also
It's
new
free on
in
Game
the
Pass, isn't it?
Also new in the game is in Bahrain, Miami, Melbourne, Suzuka, and Imola. The entire track has been scanned and millions of data points have formed its recreation in game. If you're doing it for those tracks, why not do it for them all?
Probably because they already had. These were the ones that they'd
That's
just
true.
neglected.
An
'Cause
improved track surface shader,
Nice.
vegetation,
Whoa.
and path tracing.
Whoa.
Wait, can we just say the important thing was the gameplay from last year being fucking horrific? And all they've done is implement the fact that you can drive a track backwards.
It looks
and
pretty
imagine.
And added trees.
Ooh.
I wonder if you could buy them trees.
Their main
Hello,
changes to career mode. You can race as Connor Sport or Apex GP in driver career.
Great.
And there's been changes to the driver icons system.
Because somebody clearly found a way to do something obscene.
So basically, you can let the AI sign drivers like Michael Schumacher or Ayrton Senna.
Oh, great. No thanks. I don't want to have my
Nice.
ass handed to me any more than it already is.
Those are the changes to driver career. I love this game.
It's not a sprint weekend,
Well,
is it?
No,
no.
it's
Good.
not.
The last thing about the F1 game is the fact that the contract one runs out this year
Thank
with
fuck.
options to extend.
No,
So
cancel it.
I'd say it's likely to extend. However, if this game fails as well, would it surprise you if they'd be like, nah, this ain't gonna work anymore?
Hopefully
Back
EA
off.
drop it, give it to a competent game studio.
Well,
Turn 10?
we sort of had one.
Yeah, turn 10.
Just
What,
saying.
like Forza and that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
Look, they've
Maybe
made
Gran Turismo.
they've made better racing games than any other studio on
Yeah.
anything other than PlayStation.
That's on PlayStation now.
Gran Turismo. But, you know, I suppose Assetto Corsa, who develops that? Because that's pretty good.
That is good.
But although the new one's sort of failing, Assetto
Oh.
Corsa Evo is not.
Brilliant.
It's
Okay.
not
So
going
Assetto
well.
Corsa's in the bin as well. Who the fuck made Euro Truck Sim? There's nothing wrong with Euro Truck Sim.
Imagine
to them.
Euro trucking to each race weekend.
To be
That's
fair,
the
if you want
game.
it to be a good simulator, give it to Asobo Studios, the people who build Flight Sim,
True.
and it will look
Yeah, but you don't-
visually
but-
stunning.
If Microsoft Flight Sim is supposed to be on Game Pass, and I installed it, and it took masses of like hard drive space, and it never opened. Like I'd launch it, and it'd be like, no.
Yeah, but there's
we
also
see,
the thing
we
of
see the game is here, but you don't have the game.
there's also the fact that everyone's favorite F1 game has been F1 2020, and that's not been like the most simulator F1 game of all time. So
Yeah, true. Is that all your news, Ben?
yeah,
And we do have a bit of a somber news from Fernando Alonso. Rich, you know the most about this one.
Yeah, essentially, Fernando put up a post earlier this week in commemoration of his longtime friend, confidant, we believe also coach in some aspect, Fabri. Been with him all the way since his Minardi days in 2001, through every single driver's swap to his teams, Renault, back when it was Renault, through his McLaren era, his Ferrari time, back when he went to McLaren again, and now at Aston Martin. He'd been there for the whole ride. And yes, sadly, he has passed away. So, yeah, heartfelt condolences go out to Fernando for that. It's always tough, especially when there's someone that's essentially been there since day one. There's like for Fernando, there's probably not a lot of people that can relate to that for his experience through. So yeah, that's a real cornerstone of Fernando's camp. That's passed away.
Yeah. So yeah, unfortunate news coming from Alonso. F1 Academy. Again, Rich, I think you know the most about it. I've not had a chance to watch the race back, so do you want to lead?
Yeah, sure. It's. I mean, I'll do what I did with like the last rounds. It's basically just recaps. Free practice was most of the running, and Maya Verg, I'd say, was the most consistent across both practice sessions. She was in the top 3 in both, but Chloe Chambers wasn't to be sniffed at. Came 5th in practice 1, 2nd in practice 2. Other than that, who's the wild card? Dobson. Yes, Dobson. Not a bad showing from Dobson. 17th in free practice 1 and 16th in free practice 2. improvements. So I feel it's always really hard for these wildcards to jump into a car that they're really not familiar with.
Yeah.
Especially on a circuit like Miami.
Mm.
I felt really sorry for the Saudi Arabian wildcard because that is a rough circuit for
To try and learn.
for your first go in the car. That is not the one. Dobson actually did decently well in qualifying 15th, out qualifying 3 of the regulars. So fair play. The rock solid number 5, like she's come 5th in pretty much everything. Alba Larson only qualified 12th. So
Ooh.
it was a bit of a shake-up of the order, especially when Maya Berg only qualified 10th. Crucially, outside of the reverse grid positions. Once again,
Yes.
Emma Felbermeyer ended up 8th, so would take reverse grid pole for the one and only race that happened this weekend. Chloe Chambers, importantly, took the full pole position, and Chris, I believe you said she will take the pole position points,
Yes.
even though the race didn't run.
That is correct. If you look at the standings, she has been given the 2 points because the race was abandoned after they attempted the formation lap. So the final grid was published. Therefore, the pole position points are awarded.
A notable mention, obviously Chloe Chambers is American. There were 2 Americans in the top 5, with Leah Block qualifying 5th. That's her best qualifying of the season. Unfortunately, couldn't hang on to that in the first race and ended up finishing 10th. Behind fellow American Courtney Crone. Your race 1 results was Dorian Pan ahead of Alicia Parmovsky and Chloe Chambers in 3rd. Importantly for the championship, though, Maya Verg finished 4th.
Yes. There is now only a point in it at the top of the championship with 8 races to go.
Yes, so Maya Verg leads with 64, Dorian Pan in 2nd on 63, and Chloe Chambers is in 3rd on 55. The teams, I kind of feel like High Tech have been done dirty being given the wildcard entry, though. You know? Because they're essentially running with only 2 drivers. Whereas every other
they're
team
basically
is running
fighting with
3.
one hand tied behind their back.
Yeah. But in terms of the teams, Campos leads the way with 108 ahead of MP, who have 94, ahead of Kramer, who have 88.
Equally, you would have to say the fact that High Tech only have 1 point would perhaps suggest that
it is
this
their
not
first
really hampering
season.
that much. Yeah.
So, I mean, it is kind of to be expected that they're not going to hit the ground running in a season they're unfamiliar with, in machinery that they're probably also not too familiar with.
Yeah.
Given these are, what, F4 equivalent, I think it is?
I think so, yeah.
Because they're used to the F2 and the F3 cars now.
Yeah.
And I know
Although the High Tech not running Freca as well, which is sort of a gap between.
Yeah, but that's different
F3
machinery
and F4.
again, isn't it? That's a different car. I know they also they have teams in a lot of other series, but it's just this is another one that they need to learn, and that's the learning process they're going through. So
and
it's rough
Academy,
when you're up against established teams that have 2 years of experience under their belts.
Yeah, and F1 Academy will be back with us in Montreal at the Canadian Grand Prix.
Short trip up the coast.
Yeah. So, with all our recaps done, let's look ahead to Imola this weekend. I think it's another round. I know I, for one, am not necessarily all that looking forward to.
It's the start of the European leg.
Yeah, unless you count the fact that we're going to Canada in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, but that's always been the imposter syndrome one. So
yeah, exactly.
Like, it's this year we got Miami out the way first.
True. At least it's done. It's gone.
It's an all-timer of a triple header.
What have we got?
Yeah.
Imola, Monaco, Spain.
Honestly, I'm not that bothered about Spain. Spain hasn't
Spain, I
been
can take
too
or
bad.
leave.
Yeah,
We're in 2 qualifying tracks right now.
yeah.
Everybody just watch Saturday. Sunday will follow suit.
Pretty much.
Should. Maybe unless Lando goes
should.
pole.
Yeah.
Then that's when...
Then
Yeah.
obviously, then Bottle Job appears.
Or it rains.
I didn't realise
Do you
Lando
know what,
Norris
just
had a
on that-
second job at a fucking Coca-Cola factory because he bottles it. Anyway,
Other soft drinks are available.
yes.
But just on Lando Norris, I was having a discussion with a friend about this today who's relatively new to Formula One, but is Lando as much of a bottle job as we fear, or is this a knee-jerk reaction?
It's a mix of both.
It's not really a knee jerk when we've seen it for multiple years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We
I think
all backed.
He just needs to learn to deal with the pressure and also fucking string it together.
Yeah,
There's
we all
multiple
Yeah.
instances this season already that he probably would have been on pole had he not made silly mistakes.
Yeah, we all backed Lando at the start of the season. I'm really beginning to wish I backed Piastri.
Mm.
Because he
He's
seems
just
to be able to-
unfazed by anything.
Yeah, he just does it.
Yeah. You
But
could,
we
you
did
could
see
slap
that.
a tornado warning and he'd be like, cool.
We
Actually,
did see
no,
that in the
he's
junior series.
Oscar Piastri's reaction would be, okay.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all he says is, okay.
Like, we seen Lando actually got on my nerves a bit after the Miami Grand Prix. It was his interview, I think, with Laura Winter.
Oh.
So after the Lego race.
No, it was after
banter.
It was after the real race.
The real race
Lego
was
race
the Lego
one's
race.
proper, yeah.
The amount of debris. Oh my god.
Well, it was after the one that we awarded points. Did any of you see it? Like
No.
straight after the race, basically giving one-word answers and blaming Max for all his life's problems.
There's an
And you're
argument to be made there that
yeah,
Max did kind of bugger him. But equally,
I
you
did
can see
think
Max
that
is
move was
buggering it.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. I did think that move was a bit iffy, but
But it's the fact that Max got oversteered before he obviously
Yeah.
that's what he had to correct. So it's racing.
but it's like just get on with it. He then got past and just didn't make a dent on Piastri.
I think that's just because Piastri had everything in hand. Let's be
Yeah.
honest. He
He had it
started to
covered
make a
after the
dent,
first
but like, yeah, he's 8 seconds out in front. So what's the point?
Mm.
Like, you're in the same car. You know he can go just as fast as you.
Yeah,
I think the really frustrating thing with Lando is the fact that he can put it all together because he has with like Australia, Singapore, Zandvoort. He had a crap start, but he still made it right.
Yeah.
I think the thing,
But
you
then
can put it together when the pressure's not on. As soon as there seems to be any weight of expectation, that's it.
yeah, but then you could say there was at the start of the season. In Australia, you're having Max burying down your throat, and yet he still comes home and wins. Then it's just the inconsistency of it. It's annoying.
Yeah. He needs to iron out these last few pieces, and then he
Yeah.
will be, honestly, a disgusting race driver. We would be talking, if he'd ironed out these mistakes, we would be talking about him in, I'd say, a similar vein that we talked to Max Verstappen's first,
Yeah,
second, championship winning season.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There sort of be Lando, Verstappen, like Lewis.
Yeah. But with the mistakes where he is, he's not top 3 on the grid for me.
If he keeps going the way he's going, he'll never be world champion.
No.
Which is why we're talking about what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Which pains me so much.
Yeah. He's got the talent to be world champion.
Like,
He
I love the guy, okay? He's a great racer. he just needs to put it together.
I think
Week in,
Miami
week out.
Miami perfectly showed like the difference between Piastri and Norris, and the fact that Lando was still good at trying to hunt Piastri down in a way he made it from 9 seconds to 3. But then Piastri just makes the move that matters most.
I tell you what, there was actually one piece of news that we did forget to cover.
What's that?
Max Verstappen. Oh, sorry, is that Max Verstappen? No, that's Franz Hermann.
Oh yeah.
Talk about right. So there was, what was it, a GT3 event
Ferrari.
at the Nürburgring. He's in a Ferrari. He's entered under the name Franz Hermann, and yet he rocks up in a Red Bull covered Ferrari that is not only Red Bull covered, but has fucking Verstappen.com racing on the door. And then wonders why he gets recognised.
Yeah.
What's the point of even bothering using an alias when you're plastering your team on the car and your fucking name on the side of it?
And I just find the only post I seen about it was like Max Verstappen shows up to a random GC3 event, sets a lap record, leaves, refuses to elaborate.
He was within 5 seconds of the pole lap on the weekend.
And he had a
over
full
an
tank.
8-minute lap.
And he had a full
he
tank.
He only done
traffic.
2 laps.
So I think he needs practice under his belt and points and sessions so that he can get his Nürburgring license ahead of an event later in the year. But as far as I'm concerned, Max Verstappen still hasn't got those. Franz Hermann does.
Exactly.
Is that not identity fraud? Where do we stand on aliases and identity
I wonder
fraud?
if there is like a Franz Hermann in this world being like, oh fuck, that was my chance.
It'd be even funnier if Franz Hermann is a racing driver.
He just turns up. This is me.
Excuse me, son, you're in my seat. Get out.
Anyway.
Also, Max has had a kid. Have we covered that?
Yeah. Congrats.
I don't think we've covered that. He has a child now.
No, we haven't.
Moving on.
So he's chosen to compete in GT3 session and then go back to his kid afterwards.
Yeah.
Priorities.
Speaking of
endurance
race,
this is his job, right? So
with endurance racing, there is another thing. There's an Amazon Prime documentary on the Garage 56 they done at Le Mans. Yes, so you can watch that hefty fucker go around.
I want to watch that. That's how it is. It looks banging. I saw the advert for it and I was immediately on board.
Yeah.
Imola predictions.
Yes.
So yeah, as we say, not one we're looking forward to. Let's do it anyway. Pole position, please, Ben.
George Russell.
Richard.
Following on from the conversation we've just had, Lando Norris.
I'm going to go Oscar Piastri.
And Sonia has joined you. Now, I don't know if you've read the general chat and what Mel has put in.
So Mel has said Ollie Behrman to win the race.
Yeah, so I've put that in the podium. As this is
Imola, yeah, I'm just going to say that means Ollie Behrman's going to get pole as well.
I'm not willing to make that assumption. So I've left it blank.
I 100% am.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. I've been outweighed, but I'm going to write it in small.
She can't come back and be like, oh, I meant Piastri for pole.
Yeah, say 4 hours after quali.
Yeah.
Podium. Let's start with Mel's. So she's went Behrman.
And that's it.
And so in second is going to be Franco Colapinto.
Mm-hmm.
What a return to Formula One.
Mm.
And who do we think is going to be third?
Lance Stroll.
Yeah.
Alonso.
Stroll.
Stroll.
Like Alonso to win the race or something.
Right.
Ben, your podium, please. We forgot Ian's pole prediction.
We'll leave Nia. we'll leave Nia. She's on a roll of. Oh, wait, actually, she's on a roll of 2 weeks of submitting, 3 weeks of submitting. So we'll give Nia a chance.
Okay.
We'll discuss this afterwards and pencil
Yeah.
in some if she doesn't.
So, you don't know
Because
this,
Ben
Chris,
told
but a few weeks ago when I returned, I said I'm never predicting Lando to get pole or win again. I so badly want to. But I'm going to say a George Russell victory with Norris Piastri.
I was wondering why you put Russell on pole. It was very left wing.
Yeah, Ben has made a sacrifice for the greater good.
Yeah.
In an attempt to not curse Lando. He has sacrificed off his predictions and said that he will never predict that again. It's not really working so far.
Next year.
Next year's open season. Norris is going to come first, second, and third.
Yeah, exactly. Rich, what have you got?
I have said Norris, Verstappen, Piastri.
I have went Piastri, Russell, Norris.
Sonia has gone Piastri, Norris, Antonelli.
Oh.
Rating the Italian. She says, I believe in the Italian.
Fair.
I rate it.
Bold predictions time. Mel has stolen mine from last week and said Max DNF.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't come true last week. We'll see if it happens this week.
If we each take it in turns, then
Eventually
we'll discover who has the magic touch.
Yeah, exactly.
I feel like I've got a good. I'd stick 20 quid on me with that.
No, you'll predict it and it'll happen the week after.
Yeah, that's true.
But no, I have to like anti-predict it. I have to like Max finish the race and then it.
Yeah,
Max
then
Grand
DNF.
Slam. DNF's a turn one. No, doesn't even start the Grand Prix because of a gearbox issue.
Yeah, Ben, what are you going for?
So I've picked on his teammate this week and said Yuki Tsunoda to get a top 8 for the first time in Red Bull.
Rich?
I'm low-key bullying George. His pit stop is going to be longer than 4 seconds.
If that cost him the race, I'm fuming.
Sorry, not sorry.
I'm going to go excluding turn 1, less than 15 on-track overtakes.
Shall I
So
just
excluding
say
lap 1, turn 1.
just turn 1, or shall I just say lap 1?
Okay, yeah, excluding lap 1, less than 15 on-track overtakes. Because knowing my luck, I would include lap 1, and somebody in like
16.
third would stop on the line.
16 overtakes in lap 1 and that's it.
So yeah, basically after lap 1, it will be boring. Very boring. That's everyone. Actually, lap down showdown.
Do you know how many laps there are?
It's
the George Russell Grand Prix.
Yeah,
63 laps.
So Mel has went Hulkenberg, 14, 1 lap down.
Clapped on lap 14.
I know.
Yeah,
It's quick.
How slow is he going?
Quick. Yeah, but then he doesn't get lapped again.
again.
He goes for nearly 50 laps without getting lapped again. gets done within 15 and then goes 49 without getting lapped again. That's mad. That's 3 times longer.
I'm going to go Bortoletto, 31. Ben?
I am. Yeah, fucking non-existent. Hello. Right, we back. We are
We're
back.
back.
I'm picking on Lance Stroll. Don't know why,
Probably because
but he'd get laps on lap 31, and he's 2 laps down.
2 laps down. Okay. I've also picked on Lance Stroll, but I've said lap 42 and 1 lap down.
And thus brings to an end the predictions for Imola.
Like,
Join us next week, where we'll see if those have come true.
Can we just say, like, this is how far through the book we've gone since we started this podcast?
We'll need a new book soon.
I will need a new book soon. Or will I digitise?
Whoa.
I quite like the old school format, to be honest.
So yeah, join us next week, where we'll see if any of this has come true, or if Lance Stroll has somehow won the race.
He
Oh, the scenes.
If that happens, I think we all just stop.
Can you
Yeah.
imagine it if
That would be time to give it up.
actually, if we started in 2020 and we had to talk about the fact that he got pole in Tuscany?
What?
Is it Tuscany?
Turkey.
Turkey.
Yeah.
Tuscany,
Yeah, I'm good.
he crashed and caused a red flag.
Yes. That was good.
What a race.
What a race.
That would have been one hell of an episode.
Yes. That would. Jesus Christ.
What a race that was. But yeah.
What
Anyway.
support series have we got this week? God.
That's a good question,
I
actually.
think it's F2.
We've definitely got F2. I don't think we have F3.
We have through F3.
What time's the Porsche
We
Carrera?
do. It's the full set.
Well, not quite. We don't have the Academy, but we've got
8.
1, 2, and 3. We've got the numbers.
Oh, actually, a bit of news I forgot to mention.
Shit. More news.
Porsche Super Cup have announced a calendar.
Oh my god.
And I only mention that because they are a Formula 1 support series. And the only round we ever talk about them at is Silverstone.
Because there's someone there that saw it.
Because there's someone there that saw it. However...
Well, actually, I watched the Porsche Sprint Cup the other week.
Whoa.
At Donington Park. And let me tell you, they are something special. Because fuck me, was that shite. Jesus Christ. Can I just say, the highlights of the day, you're watching the minis all day long. You watch the mini cup, Porsche comes on, bathroom time.
Yeah, pretty much. That's the same in Formula 1.
Yeah.
Their lap 1 is chaos, and then it just settles down because the cars are far too wide to overtake even around Silverstone.
It was also quite funny with the safety cars. There'd be like a mini smashed up against a barrier and gravel. They'd have to get a tractor or whatever to get it out. The cars would still be racing around. One little bit of debris for the Porsches. Fucking red flag that cunt. This ain't getting on.
But yes, normally we talk about it at Silverstone. However, the calendar has been announced, and for the first time, at least since I was going to the Grand Prix, they are not going to Silverstone.
The money pot's run out. Your bathroom break's gone, mate.
I know.
Take a bottle.
It's not been announced what it's going to be replaced by, if anything.
The Porsche Caymans.
Yeah, fucking brilliant.
The Renault Clio Cup.
Renault Clio's are fine though, because they can actually race.
True.
The worse the car, the better the racing.
You know, they should replace it with a special round of the Citroen C1 League.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a bang of racing league.
I think there's like a Ford car endurance race they could run.
But yeah, we'll need to wait and see if they're going to fill that slot on track.
Fill it with F1 Lego. Just
Yes. Up the miles per hour from 20 kph to 40. Make it 2 laps.
Yeah.
And include track limits.
No rules. I don't care about track limits.
Yeah, we'll wait and see once the full schedule for the weekend is announced. what goes into those slots. Because we know it's not F1 Academy, their calendar's obviously well announced, and we know it's not Porsche Super Cup. So it could be a new support series we've never seen before, or it could just be more Pirelli hot laps.
That's
Probably
where my
that,
money's at.
because those make money.
Ready hot laps in a Porsche Super Cup car.
But anyway, join us next week where we will be reviewing Imola and previewing Monaco as we kick off yet another triple header this season. We will see you next week. For now.